on the road, let's travel. The venture's worth the fatigue. Stumble but steady while the rivals remain invested in the tree. Consistent within they scope like COINTELPRO. Seeking to destroy by any means, while the name of the game is just sabotage. New assaults with a full barrage. From the stratagems to the arsenals can't be lacking, cause the errors be marginal. Whether it's minor, major scales will vary. Take no other way to exit the guarantee. Stay attitudes, but they lack credentials. Falsehood so exponential. Little ego took over and turned killed off that potential. Lack of self-awareness, better slow your roll. Not taking heed to the signs, you better slow your roll. Negating the dangers and traitors, you better slow your roll. Lead to a demise for you later, you better slow your roll. Lack of self-awareness, better slow your roll. Not taking heed to the signs, you better slow your roll. Negating the dangers and traitors, you better slow your roll. Lead to a demise for you later, you better slow your roll. Label on loose, screw my hair on a swivel. Doggy dog world also looking like kibble on the food chain. Lame brains with low tier, get you the direction is not clear. Couldn't navigate the leadership, being the figurehead, this shit is nominal. Despite the point, bucking the blind, still profitable, finessing the followers. It's really a pity with cheating committees. Motherfuckers follow for that fool's goal wasn't destined to manifest. Ignoring the council without any recompense. In that case, charge to the game would have been an interest. Premium race and extra fees gonna pile along with a long bill full of regrets. Lack of self-awareness, better slow your roll. Not taking heed to the signs, you better slow your roll. Negating the dangers and traitors, you better slow your roll. Lead to a demise for you later, you better slow your roll. Lack of self-awareness, better slow your roll. Not taking heed to the signs, you better slow your roll. Negating the dangers and traitors, you better slow your roll. Lead to a demise for you later, you better slow your roll.
Yo, we in the building with Leroy.
Yes, sir, Mr. Flamingo Fred.
What's going on, my brother?
I'm doing well, I hope you've been doing well, brother, too.
I've been doing good, man. First of all, like I said earlier, man, I know I texted to you, but I wanted to apologize for not getting back to you sooner. Sometimes on the gram, man, these messages be coming, and it seemed like it don't be notifying me of the messages.
It's all good. You know how technology be sometimes. You know, it's got its quirks, man.
So if you ever got to get a hold of me in the future, man, and I didn't get back to you or something happened, just find a way, man. Leave a comment, something. Because I only way I seen, I'll check the calendar. I went to go message. I'm like, man, bro got the video. He been hollering at me officially.
But it's all good as long as we're here right now. Just thankful for the opportunity, though. So.
Yeah, most definitely, my brother. So we happy to have you in the building, man. Hey, let us know who you are. I seen you cooking on that MPC.
Yeah, this is my baby right here. You know, I got to bring like my daughter. It's like my adopted daughter, brother. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got to bring my baby with me. So.
Yeah, I already know the feeling, man. I got the MPC too.
Oh, okay. Which version? You have the live, the one?
I got the MPC one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I got
the one plus, man.
Just the one.
Okay. Right.
I'm still. I love that thing, man. I've been messing with some funk vibes. So, man, I be plugging my synthesizer. I bought a JDXI synthesizer, and I be running it through the MPC, or the MPC. I be running the phone through there. You can run anything through there.
Yeah. All around station, man. Like I didn't really get more into the MPC until like this year. I mean, I brought it years ago, but I never really picked up and tried to at least like learn how to operate the basics and stuff like that. But this year, I really enjoy the workflow, and I feel like it's less distractions than just being on the dog with the internet. You know what I'm saying? You open up tabs, not being as productive or creative at the time. So, but yeah, so you just want me to just lay out who I am right now?
Yeah, man, just give us, usually we just shoot the shit, man, whether it's about
Mhm.
music or not. But yeah, give the people a little breakdown, who you are, where you from. I know you
Of
said you
course.
in the ATL right now.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
Just here for a few days. But yeah, so I go by Leroy curriculum, but my government name, call me Zach. Outside of that, outside the music and all that stuff. I was originally born in Chicago. However, my family, we've been kind of nomadic a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I spent some time in Indianapolis, but I spent most of my youth in Memphis. And then
Okay.
I'm currently based in Minneapolis. I'm currently based in Minneapolis right now. So I got to Minneapolis around like 2016 and got things established out there. The usual, like the job and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
um
Minneapolis get a lot of people, it seemed like, from Chicago and,
mhm.
different places.
Yeah, yeah, especially Chicago, because in particular North Minneapolis, the area around there, a lot of Chicago transplants are up there. In fact, some of the residents like came from around the same housing projects that my family is from, the Argyle
Yeah.
Gardens. Yeah, so there's
You
quite a bit
know
of
how it
Chicago
go.
transplants up there. Yep.
You know how it
Yeah.
go. People would be in the middle of and start spreading out and going to different places trying to,
Yeah.
go to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah, man.
Um, but yeah, so concerned about like that, like, and just about the music and stuff. So I really been dabbling like in poetry and rap and stuff back in my teenage years in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's mainly how I started out, just just writing poetry and just little stories and stuff like that, and then gravitate more to like in the hip hop side, just listening to certain artists and
Yeah.
like try to put a little spin on a few things. So
Hey,
um
poetry is a beautiful thing, and that's why, I make music myself. And, you get to a certain point, trying to
mhm,
elevate and have the information. It is poetry. Now, a lot of people done flipped it into some different stuff and throw
yeah,
all these other elements into it, but it's an art form.
it is even just structure wise with like sentences, like syntax and all that stuff, diction, all these different elements that brings down into like literature and then branches out to poetry and just those different type of arts right there, man. Yeah. So that I kind of caught the bug at that time, but it was a point where I was taking a little bit of hiatus when
Yeah.
I was going through that transition of like relocating and pursuing college for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of branched out a little bit, some different. Um, End up settling in Minneapolis due to my family relocating as well from back over from Memphis back to the Midwest. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and but during that time when I was still, I was still trying to, do school in Chicago after I got out of Memphis. I was still like writing a little bit here and there, even just recording over like instrumentals on YouTube and stuff, and then putting stuff on SoundCloud using like the Yeti Snowball mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Audacity, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. A lot of people
Yeah,
had their mics. They always was cool.
yeah, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good as a USB mic. It got you what you doing. And if you're able to try to get
You
like at least a decent mix and stuff like that and work with it, you can put out something that's listenable.
You know what? And this is something I've been thinking about lately because I've been recording. Like, don't get me wrong, you should get a nice mix or do this and that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like with the recordings now, I've been kind of craving like a gritty recording,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not necessarily like a industry standard. Like I said, I use a synthesizer. Sometimes I might record through the mic with the vocoder or something like that through the MPC
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, and it's like a
Yeah.
grittier, rougher vocals.
Yeah. True to the source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want people to understand you, and you don't want it to garble up somebody's system. But I think there's cool elements to making music that can have it be a little bit rough.
Mm-hmm. And kind of differentiate from whatever's out there.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
most
'cause
definitely.
yeah, there's someone hears that like here it's like, dang, this is not the normal type of material I'm listening to, but it got me intrigued. So let me go ahead and dive more into this person's catalog. If you got more music that's similar to that true to the source type of feeling, like that rawness, that not so much as like less polished, but just kind of like just naked, like a
Yeah.
naked type of feel. But
Yeah, shout out to the homie Trevor. He said, man, shout out Memphis, man. Shout out the homie Trevor, man. You
man,
know.
salute to that brother right there, man. Always got 901 love. Always got some love down there.
Yeah,
Fraser
that's
Riley.
that's what it do. So who do you think some of your biggest influences are to make music? Who is,
Oh,
you cooking beats and you also
hmm,
doing, lyrics, and you also, hip hop. Like, who are some of your biggest influences when you making
okay.
music?
Oh, of course. So it's kind of a thing. Like I kind of divided up too into terms of like the MCs and the rappers, and then as well as producers, or also producers that can also rap. But I think like to double it down to like in terms of like the type of hip hop and the lyricism I geared towards folks like Delta Funky Homo Sapien.
Ooh,
And yep, yep,
ooh.
yeah, man, that's my favorite. And shout out to the West. No, it's a West Coast brother too, so I
Hey,
gotta definitely salute
hey,
him.
you know what's crazy about that? I was just at a function in the Bay Area, history of the Bay, there
Hmm.
with Souls of Mischief / part of the hieroglyphics, and Dale wasn't there. I wasn't seeing Dale, but I feel like Dale is known and they know he legendary, but I also feel like he's underrated at the same time because he didn't take, a traditional mainstream route. Because
Yeah.
that's Ice Cube cousin, and he could have got
Uh huh.
signed
Yep.
way back when, and he was like,
Yep.
nah, he gonna go this way.
Yep. And he even wrote for the Lynch Mob, didn't he? He wrote for the Lynch some of the Lynch
Yeah, I
Mob members.
believe so. And then he was
Yep.
on that famous, Gorillas track. Was that Clint
Clint
Eastwood?
Eastwood.
And a
Yep.
lot of people, they listen to the track and they don't realize that's one of the biggest songs there ever was. And a lot of people don't realize that's Dale, the funky Homo
Yep.
sapien.
Yep.
You know,
Man, and just putting out classic material, man. Shoot, like I wish my brother George was here. No need
hmm
for alarm. But I think like my favorite project that he did was Future Development.
mm.
The joint with Corner Store. We about to roll to the corner. Get us some brew. We about to roll to the corner. Man,
What
that was
what is
this is
what's
storytelling.
my favorite Dale track? I think underrated. I think it was Catch a Bad One. The
That was on the No Need for Alarm album.
It might be. I got to go back, but I think I used to bump that a lot. The Catch a Bad One, where it used to have like the strings in there. Yeah, yep,
Man,
that was the one. I used to bump that deal. That Catch a Bad One. You feel me?
man,
That was the
man.
joint.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But
Delta Funky, Homo Sapien. Who else?
mm, shoot, MF definitely RIP MF Doom Malay,
Yeah,
aka DJ Zev Love X. Shoot. Memphis, and of course, like some of my Memphis folks, 36 Mafia, as well as Project
yeah.
Pat. Scarface, definitely I enjoy Scarface. Scarface, man, he's an amazing storyteller and a pioneer too. Trying to think of who else. Cool G Rap. Cool G
Mm,
Rap. Yeah, Cool G
okay.
Rap, man. Another pioneer, man. Especially the multi-syllable rhymes and just his storytelling, and just his and just man. Um, and producers that rap or producers that influence me. Um, I think Kanye, of course, got to show, salute to Kanye. Um, Jay Dilla. Um, Jay Dilla
Mm-hmm.
definitely is an influence in terms of production. Um, and speaking of Detroit, Black Milk. Black Milk.
Mm-hmm.
Like Black Milk, he's probably one of my favorites. He's one of my
You,
favorite like musicians, period, because he's
you
his
know,
versatility. Yeah.
I always like artists, and this is for me. As I've come up, I've always liked artists that kind of had a backstory that they played into. It was always
Mm-hmm.
like Mad Lib, you know, and then Quasimodo, MF
Mm-hmm.
Doom, you know. Even though I like Doom is
AMG.
dope, you know, they there's a story behind it, and you know whether they was a super villain on a mission or you know weird this and that. I always like kind of the story elements behind it. And I know that's not for everybody because they like, oh, it's in a way it's kind of make believe, but hey,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these cats is out here making believe in some whole other shit that ain't real. So you know, we can have some
Tell
story
him.
time, hip hop. You know, a lot of these cats is painting a picture on a whole lot of pretend shit on the
Tell
mic. You
him.
know, so
Tell
I
him.
always enjoyed artists, whether they even all kind of genres that kind of had like this ongoing story, the comic book or stories. I
Mm.
always like artists that had that.
Yeah. Even branching back with Delta Funky Homo Sapien when he teamed up with Dan the Automator and I forgot the other producer and created the Deltron 30
Yeah.
30 projects, you know, that just reinforcing that future, the Afro-futuristic type theme and a lot of
Ooh.
also political themes in that too. You know, I learned to look back into it and I kind of see some parallels with what we're going on with today. And it's like, dang, like this is kind of like now kind of like some Nostradamus type stuff. So
Hey,
yeah.
The Afro futuristic theme is kind of dope. Like you kind of see that. You know who I think you seen that a lot and it was dope. It was in the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
They had those elements, you know, futuristic technology, but still like the Afro, you know, vibe and everything
Yeah.
like that. I think that's something like a lot of people don't talk about often.
Yeah.
You know, that's real dope. I'm in the, you know, different genres, but Dale had that. I wonder where Dale's at, you know, doing his thing.
Concerned about his new material, I think he did a collaboration with I forgot it's some rapper. Eve, I forgot the name of the rapper. But but yeah, like I gotta salute Dell. Gotta salute Dell. You know, he's been very pivotal, like in terms of influence
Hmm.
my my um my creative path. You know, and I just
Yeah,
enjoy his material.
yeah, that's dope. I
Yeah,
know I felt like I liked a couple different people, and one was always like Fife from the Tribe. I always like Fife dog. Um
man.
coming up because just to me Fife was animated like he had you know different types of bars and I always liked that it's supposed to be entertaining. You know, Q-Tip had bars, it was more smooth. Fife was
Mm-hmm.
you know hyping out the box, you know what I mean.
That much more
Some I
that
forgot
animated
some.
type feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was he would have been a dope cat that you could have probably mixed with. You know how these cats do these you know um these collaboration albums, you know, he would have been a dope cat to mix with a couple people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I remember sometimes he was something, but on stage called me Dino Mutt. And Dino Mutt was like an old cartoon that they used to, you know, before my time, but they used to have reruns sometimes on Cartoon Network. But he was some on stage called me Dino Mutt. You
I
feel me?
still remember
And that's
some.
what I
Yeah.
like that about music. Like you supposed to, you know. I mean, I feel like I'm like that in real life. You know, I'm gonna say something off the cuff that's just out the box. It's gonna take you a second to go dissect it, and you know what I mean?
Yep, make you do a Google research or just like
Yeah,
ask some folks like, hey, he mentioned this before. Is this true? Does this have some type of relevance? Like for real?
yeah. And then
Yeah,
you go, you know, then you gonna see, and it makes sense. So I always like that about it. Um, you know, I've been real big into like jazz. You know, there was like an era, and I said
yes,
this before, like there was like an era of jazz, especially I felt like it was in New York or something. Like, and you probably haven't seen this movie, but I'm gonna run it by you. You ever heard of a movie called Fritz the Cat?
oh yeah, the adult animated film.
The adult animated film.
Yeah, I
But
mean
it
I've
was
seen
like
clips of it. Yeah.
you got to go back and watch that movie. I think at the time period it's supposed to be in, it was like the 60s, but I think it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of this same jazz, but it was like a era where cats was like jamming on the roof in New York or in, you know, the little homie house, and it was, hey, daddy, yo,
Yeah.
let me lay something on you. It's gonna be heavy, baby. You know what I mean? And it
And
was
they even
like that
had black,
era.
well,
It was
and they even had like the black folks as the crows.
Yeah, the black folks
Yeah,
was the pros, and they was
yeah.
hey coming through. So it was like that era with the slang and the music, and I even feel in a little bit of that. That was like the Afro futuristic kind of for their era. I feel like maybe
Mhm.
they was wearing the big circular glasses and they had
Yeah.
these hats. I really been like man wanting to add that element, and it's almost like right now, I've been playing around with kind of like an electronic jazz vibe, like this funk, but it's like funky, but electronic and jazz in there too.
Yeah.
So, it's wild, man. Talking about different eras and time frames and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what other music do you like besides rap music?
Like you mentioned, jazz. Like I do enjoy jazz, even when I drive to work. When I don't want to listen to hip hop or anything like that, I put on the jazz radio. Shoot, like artists like, of course, like John Coltrane, Bob
Mm,
James. Shoot, who else I can think of? But I know Bob James is one of my favorites. One of my favorite jazz artists. A little bit of Miles Davis here and there.
mm,
Shoot, Donald Berg. Donald Berg. Oh, Ronnie Laws.
mm.
That's another one. Ronnie Laws. And in terms of like a modern jazz artist, there's one I really like. In fact, the song that you preview, "Better Slow Your Roll," um, I used one of his tracks. He goes by the
Mm.
name of Mark DeClive Lowe. You ever heard of him?
Okay. No, I
Yeah.
haven't. You have to send me a link.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, he's New Zealand and he's Japanese in New Zealand, and
Hmm.
he's been doing music since like since the early 2000s, late 90s.
That's
But
dope.
yeah, and like that track, the Better Slow Your Roll track, I was like, wow, I like this. I like how I sampled this, but I like his music, and I started to listen more to his material. And he has like that hodgepodge of different genres too, combining like funk,
Yeah.
electronic, jazz, hip hop. Just making a mesh of it, but it sounds very different. It sounds very appealing. Um, wow, and it's even how like he incorporates certain themes into his music. He
Yeah.
has he has these two albums called Heritage, which basically the albums incorporate a lot of his Japanese roots. From the
Mhm.
instrumentation, like using certain Oriental flutes and certain harps and stuff like that. Um, I just like the concept of the album, and then when you listen to it, it's even though it's no vocals or anything like that, you hear like this kind of sounds like if I want to go to Japan and I
Mm.
hear their representation of maybe a jazz or fusion and stuff like that. This this kind of is the embodiment of it. But Martha Clive Lowe, probably one of my favorite modern jazz musicians.
That's dope. A
Yeah.
lot of times I've been struggling, I've been branching out of just hip hop because I made hip hop for a while, but I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
man, what is this sound? What is the sound I'm trying to do? What is this called? How to do it? You know, this, and that. What era? But I already know the answer, and the answer is, man, hey, fuck it. Do what you feel in the moment and do
Right.
that and release it. I know that's the answer, but you start trying to categorize things. Okay, this, but really I've been like in a mix of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, with the music that I've been trying to make, and I got into my brain. It's the jazz elements, there's punk rock
Mm.
elements, but also it's electrified. And me personally, I feel like the electricity comes from the 80s because the 80s was
Yeah.
full synthesizers and
Yeah.
808 and all that stuff. So
And
you
folks
just
like
gotta
folks like Paul Hardcastle.
Mm,
releasing material out there with the synthesizers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Man, the
But if
profit.
if you
The
look you look at it, not to cut you off, like you know, you could look in. I look at some of these '80s music, and I could see like the punk rock influence. The beat kind of
Mhm.
changed a little bit, but some of the vocals are saying, here in my car, this and in my car. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much like punk rock, like you know what I mean. But it's just electrified with the '80s.
Yeah, I never really thought of it like that.
I don't know. I've kind of hit I've kind of hit this age in music. You know what I mean? At first, I was just making music, but it's like now I've kind of become a little bit of a historian in like genres and eras, and I don't know. It just kind of has happened because I've been studying music more than ever. I came up in hip hop doing that, but now I'm like, okay, I want to branch out. Let me study and look at music. And I don't know, I just been kind of studying music more than I ever have in my life. I used to just listen to music and okay,
Mhm.
but now I've been kind of studying it.
Yeah, and in a way, you think that kind of enhances the appreciation for it as well.
Oh, most definitely. I'm a
Yeah.
person, and that's part of the reason why I do this podcast. Um, people, oh, they say I interview a lot of up and coming artists, but I appreciate artists like yourself and people, because
Thank you.
like I said, it's art, it's an art form. So, I listen to these people and I wonder what they're going through in their life or what influenced them and this and that. So, there's a high appreciation, I think we have a problem in this day and age where if people don't see you making millions of dollars and all over TV every day, they kind of don't appreciate your art as much.
Hmm.
When I think
I see.
there's some geniuses right now that might not have got the opportunity or are waiting on the opportunity. Now you can't get cocky and just whatever.
Appreciate
You got to
that.
keep doing your craft or whatever else. But there's some people, and then there's some people that just rap. I noticed that
Hmm.
too. There's people that just rap, and then there's people that start, transcending, and that's when they're making their own style and doing this. And then, I feel like there's some geniuses there. For a long time, I felt like for me, I was just rapping, learn how to rap. Now, once you got better at music in this, you start, like they said, a mastery is 10,000 hours. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever read that book, but if you have a chance, and if you like to read, check it out. But they say mastery is 10,000 hours by Robert Greene. It's a long ass book, but it'll make you look and think like, whoa, you start kind of calculating your hours and you like, you know what? Some people aren't going to say you're the best or this or that or whatever else, but it's like being like a kung fu movie. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
This technique. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily saying you're the best kung fu master, or even if you compare it like that, but of this technique that you're doing, you've mastered it. You know,
Yes.
and that's how I look at my shit. I'm not trying to be the best artist ever, but my technique and being Flamingo Fred, I'm trying to master that technique. And that's where I'm, start calculating my 10,000 hours,
Of course.
you know, if that makes sense. So
It does.
I
It
I
does.
feel like there's a lot of people that I've come across or I've seen that once they got out of, and this might not make sense, once they got out of the boat of just rapping, and they've been at this craft, they start hitting a level of mastery. But a lot of times in hip hop, people they get to a certain point and people start sweeping them under the rug versus other genres because of whatever else, you know.
Yeah.
And some people might hear what I'm saying and they're like, "Oh, I'm not just trying to rap," but I think it's something you gotta just do and do it. It's like playing basketball or doing anything. At first, you were just trying to do it, but after a while, man, you so used to doing it that you can
Hmm.
start playing around and trying different stuff. Experiment.
Of course.
You
An
know,
open mind and if things, you just catch something that really catches you and it intrigues you. You're like, okay, I want to immerse myself in this. Yeah.
I feel like it'll, I feel like it'll happen, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's art. If you painted a nice picture, a dope picture that it should be have some love and appreciation. But I think we've reached and I think we're coming out of it. But I think artists should be appreciated, and praise. A lot of times, like I said, if they didn't see you out rapping with Drake, they gonna think, oh, but you still an artist, you still a poet, you still this and that, and we should, appreciate that. Somebody trying to, add to the vibration,
Mm-hmm.
so
And possibly connect with those that's willing to give an ear. They may undergo some type of experience at this time, and if your art conveys some type of relatability, or even just allow them to escape, to escape their mind or whatever their situation is, and they really appreciate that. That I don't think that should really be taken in vain or taken lightly.
not
You
at all. But that's why,
know?
a lot of times a rap, man, it's you'll run into a lot of funny things, people acting
Mm-hmm.
weird with collaborations, people doing
Mm-hmm.
this, people doing
Oh
that,
yeah.
people need you to support them, they don't support. You run into all kinds of different, shit, whether hip hop or whatever you do. And
Mhm.
you kind of, what I did this podcast and I'm out networking with people, I really wanted to take those elements. I wanted to take that type of stuff out of my game and out of other people's game. When I want to talk to people and communicate and see what's going on, I want to come from a place of love, and a connection and a vibration. I know everybody says that, and no, I'm not perfect. I'm not Buddha. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I'm a joke and do a lot of shit. And of course, we want people to reciprocate the energy we putting out. But man, you know it's really about raising the vibe and adding to the vibe is what this is all about, in the grand scheme of things.
Of
Once you get
course.
to a point, I mean, there's some people that want to be Jay-Z rich. There's some people that, you look at Kanye, and we can go deeper. You go look at Kanye's old footage, man, he really wanted to be on. He really wanted to get to a certain level of success, but he got to the certain level of success, and he's seen what comes with that. You get what I'm saying? And
I think I
he
can.
realize you'll start to realize, you see some of these people that realize some of that shit they wanted wasn't everything. You know, some of that some of that shit that they wanted wasn't everything. It come with a whole lot of other stuff. So it depends what you want out of life. Some people want $1 billion. Some people just want to travel and raise the vibration.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I would love to. Like I said, we get busy, we work, we got to promote shit. I would love to plan my month out where, okay, 2 weeks I'm in the studio, 2 weeks I'm traveling, or whatever else. 2 weeks I'm traveling, pushing what we was doing in the studio. Man, let me fly out artists that are serious about making music, and it'll
That'll be
get there.
amazing. That'd be amazing.
Hey man, curriculum, we sending for you, baby. What's your schedule like? Man, we in the studio. Get the dust the NPC off, man. We putting in the shift like we working. We putting in the shift like we okay. You taking a nap? Okay, what you got going on? You wake up from the nap like, what's that? You just hear me a jazz bass line and what the man? Look, turn on the mic. I got what I mean, and that's and then you celebrate. That's what I would be doing, but it has to get there. And
Mhm.
I think in hip hop when it was coming, when they had like the native tongues and the tribe, and people used to do that a lot more. It's like being in the village, man. When the village cut time comes, we not worried about who's the dope man. He on bro on drums. He coming with his flute. You feel me? He coming with this and the beverage and we lighting the fire, man. And we talking to the sky. You feel me? We vibing. I think
Yeah.
people have gotten away from that where it's all, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, you brought up some valid points. That sense of unity, and just all just being all this working towards like one common goal, and not letting a lot of things, personal agendas or like egos and stuff like that, trifle endeavors, you know.
Yeah, and from any time in history, you look at it from, anything, unity is hard. Everybody's gonna have
It
a
is.
different opinion and something, this, and that. But I feel personally, you know, that is what keeps me wanting to make music. Of course I want people to appreciate my work. Of course I have financial goals. Of course I want people to see what I have going on. But really what I want to take part in raising the vibe and being part of that. That's why I do it. If not, I would go do some other shit and I'd be interviewing people about aliens and how to manage beehives or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
How to do something else. So I'm about trying to raise the vibe, man.
most definitely, most
you
definitely.
know Most definitely. Any projects you got coming out soon?
I'm glad you asked. Um, in terms of a project, well, on my solo material, I'm trying to get towards an album or like a body of work in December. But upcoming soon though, I have actually produced this album for a good homie of mine, a good brother I just started working with this year. He go by the name of C. Culiente. He's
Mm,
originally from New Orleans, but he's
okay.
currently based in New York. And when we're talking about like deadly pins and just gritty, raw, raw hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
this brother right here is a beast. You know what I'm saying? And I always gotta get props, especially when I'm working with an artist that, the chemistry is just right there. We produced this album. It's called Kamikaze Charlie. The
Mm.
whole concept is like he's going dive in any type of opponent or something like that. He doesn't care. It's going to obliterate. And that's like it's the significance of the project though. Is like the time frame of it. I produced most of it, pretty much all of it on my MPC one, and it was in a short time span. I sent in the beats. We got it done in like about 5 or 7 days. And
Man.
like the great thing is that it it caused me to learn more about mixing on the MPC.
Mm.
Actually, trying to step away a little bit from my regular DAW workflow.
You might have
But
to
that
give me a
project right
lesson.
there,
You might have to give
yeah,
me an MPC mixing lesson because that sounds like work.
man, man, it takes a little time though. But it's kind of compared to what I do on the computer, like it's kind of simplified. It's mostly about leveling things, leveling your instruments, whether it's your drums, it's samples, bass, and all that stuff. I can actually send you a video though too, by the name of this is brother by the name of Jay Freshman. In fact, he was the producer that I learned how to just use this thing and operate and do a workflow on it. So
Hey man,
it,
send me whatever. You know what I've been struggling with lately, I feel, is I'll take like an old jazz sample, you know what I mean? And you know how samples is sometimes it'll sound a little gritty, but
hmm
then I'll try to add my synthesizer in with it. So I got this strong ass bass coming from this synthesizer, which is a strong sound, but I have this jazz sample that's kind of, lower and gritty, and it's kind of the synthesizer will overpower the sample.
I see those artifacts coming in and just like all that distortion,
Yeah.
and distortion can be good as long as it's harmonic distortion, it's
Hmm.
purposeful. But that's coming from a source, that's like it's from the
That's
the recording method and stuff like that. It's
that's
hard.
why
So
I do one of two things. When I make something, I'm either gonna jump up right away and go record to it, or I set it aside because I'm like, I don't know. And then a lot of
yeah,
times I'll go back and listen to it and be like, whoa, let's load that up. I was going nuts. Or I just never mess with it again. That's that's how it goes.
man,
You
that's
know.
it. That yo, we gotta give it space sometimes, like for real. And I completely understand because it's be samples that like I had passed over maybe like a few years back, but one day out of the blue, I pull up my MPC while I'm on my lunch break, and I'll hear that sample like, dang, I really slept on this for a while. Like, uh, you know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and do this and see what we can flip with it.
Hey,
Um,
much
yeah,
love. Not to cut you off. Hey, shout out to the homie Payroll Jackson. We appreciate the love. Hey, shout out Jim Turner from the Retro Room, of course. And shout out, much love to everybody that's tuning in on the gram. I seem like we finally getting the gram figured out. So much love to everybody in all the different places y'all listening to this at.
man, and salute to y'all. Salute to y'all from my end too.
Yeah. So go ahead. I didn't mean to cause you to lose your thought. I just
No,
wanted the people that was tuning in to catch me.
it's all good. It's okay. But yeah, I guess just taking time out, when if it's not meant to be, in terms of like creating that day or just mess with certain sounds, give it a little time, give it a little time to marinate, and maybe revisit, you know. At the end of the day, you can probably delete it or just save it for another time.
I
Um,
say that shit.
yes,
Sometimes, like
yeah,
I
definitely.
give you the perfect example. One time I've been messing with the homie out here. He's a lead singer of the band Owls and Aliens. Shout out Dustin Carter. But I made this beat one time. Like I said, I've been listening to a lot of punk rock, but I made this
Mhm.
beat, didn't even trip on it. I'm going through my beats one day because we had been in the studio before. We had kind of tried to make something. It was cool, but I went back. I had this beat that I made, and it was like punk rock, funky. And I'm like, oh, like god damn, like man, I made that. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm like, look, I gotta send this to you. I must have, exported it and sent it to him, and he was feeling the same way. Hopped in the studio and knocked out a banger. You know what I mean? And then I'll go to the point where I listen to it a ton of times, and then I'll cut it off and I won't listen to it at all. Because when you spend so much time in the studio, you want to make sure you're not just having some garbage. You want to make sure you're getting a cool opinion once the high comes down. And then after
Right.
the high comes down a couple weeks or however long, then I go back and listen to it. And if I'm like, okay, then I'll run with it. Not that it's going to be everybody's cup of tea, but your vibe attracts your tribe. Whoever, it resonates with, that is for them. And it was for me.
Indeed. Indeed.
You know, that's how I feel about it. So, that's a behind the scenes look, you know.
Indeed.
Any people you want to give a shout out to, my brother? I appreciate talking to you.
Oh, likewise. So definitely, I gotta salute my brother C. Coliente, man. I appreciate you, man, just working with me and just like just having that sense of hunger and urgency. Um, we're again with the project Kamikaze Charlie, but we're dropping a new single. We're dropping the first single from the project. It's called Creole Grammar. It's coming out on October 31st.
Okay.
On DSPs. So I really gotta salute that brother right there and plug him in.
Mm-hmm.
Even like my folks back in Minnesota, my folks in New York, my brother Ty of Hip Hop Gems TV. Salute to him, another great tastemaker in this renaissance of hip hop and underground in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Prodigy on the mic on my Instagram live. I'm not sure if anybody's on my Instagram live right now. My sister was also in there too. Shout out to my sister. Um, see who else. Vonadect. I apologize if I butcher your name. And YG, yeah, Yg. So yeah, my live on my Instagram is empty right now, but I still just wanted to give a shout out to them. And just overall, anybody that's been supporting me, whether they new or been around for years, and just trying to be along the journey. But those are a few individuals and platforms that I just wanted to shout out. So
Yeah. Well, my brother Curriculum, I'm happy we was able to get up with each other, man. And appreciate you reaching out to your boy and we got up together. Hey man, the lines of communication is open, man. Send me
Mhm.
anything. at any time, man, and we'll tap into together, man, and keep this thing going forward. You feel me?
Likewise, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity again. Just taking your time out and just having this discussion and just being able to branch out, even whether it's music and just other aspects. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I will try to send you those. Yep, and I will try to send you those links. So concerned about like MPC mixing as well, if that can be able to assist you.
Send me anything, man. We'll do some work together, man, and we'll do this again. Much love to you, man, and I'll holla at you.
Much love to you. Salute to you for Flamingo Fred and for the Waffle. Y'all take care.
All right. Peace out, my brother.
Peace out, brother.